So welcome to the week 2 recap check-in. Yay. So glad you're here. You know, we covered a lot this week. I did a lot more of my morning pages this week. So we've got a poppy. We've got a beautiful hibiscus bloom open. Let's talk about what we talked about in week 2, okay? It was a lot about who are the crazy makers in your life. The people that conveniently demand attention when you have a deadline. You probably understand what I mean by crazy makers. And it was about going sane. Self-doubt can turn into self-sabotage. Snipers are people who undermine your efforts to break unhealthy relationship patterns. The example Julia gave was, you can't expect your friends from the bar to celebrate your sobriety. That's the idea. Your artist, like a small child, is happiest when you feel a sense of security. You are your artist's protective parents. I liked that. Don't collect sympathy and wallow in self-pity. Feel righteous, or don't feel righteous off your potential. She was saying, like, other blocked artists sometimes like being blocked secretly because they can wallow in this sense of, I could do it so much better if only, whatever. I do that a lot when I go to the movies. I'm like, gosh. Not like I could do it better, but, it's hard to watch, like, movies that are, like, very VFX heavy, because for a second there, that's, like, what I thought I was going to do, and the path I was going to be down. And so I see VFX artists and, like, their work and stuff like that. I should go be able to appreciate those movies, not, feel bad that I didn't fulfill this sort of expectation I once had for myself to be a VFX artist. Anyways, blocked friends find your recovery disturbing. Blocked creatives can be easily manipulated. Safeguard your newly unblocked artist. Self-doubt, turn that into self-expression. Draw a sacred circle around your artist recovery. I've used this week, actually. I think this is one of the biggest things that I've implemented this week. Well, okay, we'll get into it, but I'll come back to that. It's process, not product. Crazy makers, personalities that create storm centers, charismatic but out of control, long on problems, short on solutions. Kind of people who mix up your whole life. Time is a primary tool of abuse. A crazy maker is a block of your own choosing. Our own deep skepticism. Doubts are powerful if we don't air them out. And then she also talked about, like, lucky coincidences and the universe cooperating with your creative recovery as an exercise of open-mindedness. This was kind of, like, honestly a little bit difficult for me, because I want to be able to trust that I can recognize an opportunity when it happens. When an opportunity is there, I think I'm pretty good at recognizing it, but maybe I'm not. We're getting towards the end here, and we'll talk about the tasks. Attention is an act of connection. Pain becomes something more valuable. Experience. Pay attention to right now, in this exact moment, and you will be okay. There's beauty in every moment. She talks about when her mom died, and that night she looked out at the moon, and when she thinks about her mom's death, she thinks about the moon. So pay attention to right now, in this exact moment. We are okay. Each moment is not without its beauty. The worst that can be said of a man is that he did not pay attention. Now, I love that, because I think some of the things that I'm, like, most offended by when I am offended by something is, like, somebody implying that I don't care, or like I didn't care enough to pay attention to something. So, and then we go over rules of the road. In order to be an artist, I must show up at the page, use it for rest, dream, try. Fill the well by caring for my artists. Set small, gentle goals and meet them. Pray for guidance, humility, courage. Remember that it's harder to be a blocked artist than it is to do the work. Be alert always for the presence of the great creator leading and guiding my artists. Choose companions who encourage you to do the work. Remember, the great creator loves creativity. It's my job to do the work, not judge the work. Great creator, I will take care of the quantity, you take care of the quality. Showing up to... It's just showing up, basically. Task 1, affirmative reading. Every morning and night, read these. You see yourself setting aside any skepticism. Okay, well, fun little story tangent about these affirmations. So, this notebook has become my notebook for everything, not just morning pages, which in hindsight, I should have known that was not going to work out. Shouldn't have done that because I'm working on a feature film right now, and I really need a notebook separate for that, which gets me into, I was working on the set of this said film, and I left my notebook. So luckily I was 10 minutes away. Somebody called me. It was like, is your notebook the one with sardines on the front of it? Which is also just an embarrassment. I don't know why I was embarrassed by that, but yes, it is. Turn my car around at the mix center in 10 minutes to pick up my notebook, and I'm like running. Yeah, he opened it up and he was like, no, yeah, creative affirmations, great penmanship. And I was like, oh my God, you have no context. I almost should have just pointed him to my YouTube channel. Been like, please. Anyways, but that was a little bit of a moment. So she talks about, are any of these sounding crazy? Yeah, they all felt crazy in that moment to have them written down in this notebook. And he opened it up just because he was trying to figure out whose it was. So like, you know, it wasn't like snooping. Also, it should just be an editing notebook. You know, I was on set as an editor. It should, you know, and I do have pages. I have like dedicated a couple of these pages to like, so yeah, I talked about editing stuff. List 20 things that you enjoy doing. So the idea was that this can become a list for like artist dates and stuff in the future, and that, yeah. So the 20 things I listed, I'm gonna read them off, and some of them will be redacted. Gardening. And I mean actually gardening. Swimming, writing, redacted, drawing, clearance hunting plants. I have 7 orchids. 3 of them I've bought for $3. Making curtains. When I was writing this, I think I was looking at my curtains and I was thinking about how much fun I had picking those out and putting those together. Where are we at? I keep losing my spot. Making clay magnets. I was also thinking about how much fun I had doing that. Painting. I do like painting. I think I'm, you know, somewhat decent at painting. Very general, and I'm good at painting what I want to paint. Like a giant Uno reverse card. Taking care of my cats. I like upgrading my plant setup. Upgrading my smart home setup. Making clothes. I like singing, voice acting, playing piano. I know Isn't It Lovely by Muscle Memory. And so that's basically the only thing I can play other than the first 6 notes of For Elise. I like making videos. Editing is fun. Editing for fun. And I like swimming in my mermaid tail. We were supposed to put a date next to the last time that we've done each of these. Fortunately, I think I do most of these things quite often, except for the making curtains, because that was sort of a one and done thing. So task 4, from that list, write down 2 things that you have avoided that could be this week's goal. Stop waiting for big blocks of time when you'll be free. Start with short 15-minute free spurts. Claim autonomy of your creative time, or of your time. So next week, let's look into next week. Oh, also, how many days did I do my morning pages? It's 6. Yeah. I did my morning pages 6 days this week. One of those days, I only wrote 1 page. And then one of those days, I wrote 2 pages. So yeah, that was good. Did I do my artist date? Tough to say. The artist date is like the hardest part for me, I guess. Writing my morning pages has given me like a lot of, my morning pages will start out as like, here's the date, here's what I'm doing today. And then they go into like sometimes these like fantasy land. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know I had that in me, which is kind of fun. And I think part of the whole point of the morning pages. So the capacity for delight is the gift of paying attention. The reward for attention is always healing. You have to feel secure. There's a sense of security in all of this. You have to be ready to, oh my God, it's been 29 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna cut this off. In week 3, recovering a sense of power. She says that we may have bursts of anger, joy, grief. Anger is fueled. It makes us want to do something, but when we bury it, that is very bad. Anger needs to be listened to. So I apologize for the lighting, and okay, thank you for watching very much, and I'm excited to look back on this and hopefully see some, you know, progress here in this little creative journey I've got going on. So alrighty, I'm gonna go listen to week 3, fill out my little week 3 page, and goodbye. Time to love again.